Okay, okay. Hello and welcome to another Hacienda in Conversation. I'm Graeme Park, and this is the show where we talk to a variety of DJs about their career, about the Hacienda, and loads more besides. Joining me today, oh, hang on, no one here. Well, actually, there is. He's joining us down the line, a true DJ and producer legend. It's Todd Terry.
Hey,
Hi, Todd. How are you?
how you doing?
Very good. Now, you're joining us from Ibiza.
Yes, I am.
Always on the road. How is Ibiza today?
Sunny, sunny, sunny,
Yeah, always sunny in Ibiza. It's actually sunny in
sunny
Manchester today,
days.
so there you go. Right, so first of all, the young Todd Terry. Tell us about the young Todd Terry. Where did you grow up, and what and how did you discover music?
Brooklyn, New York. Just kind of there used to be this thing called the Bazaar. They used to throw like every year, Brighton 13th Street in Brooklyn, and I used to go there, and the guy was playing music, and that was it. I just was like so interested in, oh, what's that? He's playing music. What's that? Records?
So how old
Just
are you
couldn't
at this
figure it
point?
out. I would say 14,
And what kind of stuff?
14.
What kind of stuff was he playing? Do you remember who it was? Who was DJing?
He was play. It was this DJ. His name was Larry D. Larry D. And he was playing. I think it was Roy Ayers and stuff like that, and
Ooh.
James Brown, and he was just like playing like funk and soul, and I was just mesmerized by it, and playing like disco stuff as well. It was like they would play a record, and they play it all the way to the end, and people would applaud, and he would put it on the next record.
Okay, so what year was
That was
this
the
roughly?
DJ.
What year?
Ah, wow, you're talking about uh I want to say, is that 79? Or is it 84? It's like 80s,
Okay,
I want
so
to believe.
I mean, that's kind of around the period that a certain Mr. Cool DJ Herc would start doing the scratching and cutting and stuff.
Yeah,
Were you aware of that
exactly.
going on?
Yeah, I learned about all that stuff is Grandmaster Flash, Theodore, Cool Herc. I learned all about that like later. That came like a while later, at least 3 years later. I started to get on the train and go to 125th Street to the block parties,
Well, I was going to ask you
and it was
about
like,
block parties. Tell us what was
yeah, yeah,
a
yeah,
block party really like?
yeah, 125th Street, Manhattan, and it was just crazy. It's just like, emceeing and DJing. It was just like, it was a show, constant show for hours. Different crews would come up, they break dance and they rap and everything. It was just like, everybody had a show. They had routines and stuff. It was just, it's different. And it's always done with turntables and a microphone.
And so,
It's
did
crazy.
you think, I want to have a go at this? I want to try my hand at this?
Um, well, I was interested in the whole thing because I was like emceeing a little
You
bit.
were
Me and my
MCing.
friends was emceeing.
MC.
Yes, yes, y'all to the beat,
What
y'all, and
and
you don't
what name
stop or
did you go
keep. Come
under?
on.
What was your MC name?
I was under DJ K's Glaze, but I
Okay.
wasn't a DJ. I was just like emceeing at the parties or whatever.
Okay.
But I had a DJ name, DJ K's,
Okay.
Kaze. So yeah, we was just playing around, got all into it. Used to go to all the stuff, wearing all the gear, talking about MCing, talking about music. And then as I got older, I went to this place. I think I was 16. I went to Roseland. It's on 52nd Street in Manhattan. And that's when I decided I wanted to do music.
Okay.
Like I was listening to records and I was like, it'd be cool if that part right there could go over and over again. And that's how I was trying to figure out how to get a drum machine and take that part and
Oh,
enhance
really?
it and just, yeah, that's how I got into it.
And so,
The loops.
where did you start making? Did you have to go and buy the equipment? What was your first drum machine? What equipment did you buy?
Well, I was at first it was like the DJ stuff. I got really into that, but like right away I wanted to get a drum machine. So I got a job. I went to work, and my first drum machine was a DR 55,
Wow.
uh, yeah, and I was like learning how to program on this little drum machine. And when I was DJing, I used to play the drum machine with the DJ, and everybody's like, "Yo, he's got a beatbox. It's a beatbox."
Wow.
And they called it a beatbox back in the day.
But
So it was
how
just
did you learn? Because obviously now, if somebody buys an old drum machine, they'll go to YouTube, find a video, and go, ah. But
oh
back,
YouTube,
no,
yeah.
exactly. So back then, did you just
I,
literally mess about with it?
I messed with it for days,
I suppose doing that
weeks.
though, because
Yeah.
one of the things I love about your productions and your music, you've got a very, very unique, distinct style. So when you hear something, you know immediately that's a Todd Terry production. But presumably
Mm.
that sound and that style's come around because you were, finding your own way and getting your own
Programming,
groove.
yeah, try to program it so it does in and out, toughness, I guess, you could do a lot by making one hi-hat lower than the other. That just gives it a different swing and form. You just
So
got
it's
to
basically
find
you were
out these
just
all these
experiment.
accent tricks and
You're
a
just
lot of accent.
experimenting and hearing these things and
Oh yeah,
you
yeah. I
know
was just learning all the little tricks and how you do this and make sure the drum rolls, slow down the drum roll, speed it up,
and what
as
about the
learning
music?
everything.
What did you make the music on? What synths did you have?
My first keyboard was a Casio
Casio.
CZ-101.
Yeah.
I believe it was a CZ-101 little keyboard. And I was just like learning how to, I would take a record and I would write down everything in the record. And then I would copy everything, the bass line, the keyboard, and I would learn how to play everything. So I just taught myself how to do it.
Um, and then did presumably back then I'm only making an assumption. Did you record onto like a cassette mixing thing, like an 8 track or
Four
something?
track cassette,
Yo, wow.
four track cassette. Yeah,
So I mean, that would
I
probably
started.
that would help with because you've got quite your early stuff had a very kind of unique raw sound. So presumably by putting it
Mm.
onto multi-track on cassette, that would each
Well,
copy.
that was cassette at first. Later, I got into a four-track Tascam
All right.
reel. Then I was learning how to do that and bounce tracks and everything. It was like I just wouldn't leave the house.
And
I
and
wouldn't leave the house.
and what
Everybody's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm working on something. I'm working on something."
and
I would lie so I could work on music.
Well, and what about sampling? Because I mean, a lot of your early stuff was full of samples, which I'm going to come to in a moment.
Yeah.
When did you discover what sampling was, and what did you use for your early tracks to sample things with?
Well, I had a Casio RZ-1. That's what I learned how to put like little sample sounds in there and make beats. 'Cause then I didn't have like a sample that I didn't have a sampler at the time that would do like loops and stuff like that. So I was making it up as I was making the little sounds a little bit here, a little bit there, and recording it and come back and enhance it. So I would do everything piece by piece because I didn't have, something that could do, full loops yet. But then I got to the Korg SD 2000, and that would like make it loop. And then I learned how to trigger the loop. So it was just like I was just like learning stuff. Like I was just like into this whole other world. Like I gotta learn how to do that. I gotta learn how to do this. So
So,
I just kept with it.
I mean, I've been DJing since 1984, and my first the first Todd Terry release that I remember vividly and just blowing my mind on Fresh Records,
Mm,
Todd Terry Project and Weekend, right? And
mm,
it just blew my mind because um, it was like it's a house record, but it had kind of hip hop kind of influences in it with the beats
yeah,
and stuff. And then of course the familiar song, Night and Day, da, da,
yeah.
da, and
Okay.
all those great riffs. How did you make that record? What was the process of going? I want to sample and use this record.
Well, that particular record, what I had was, I mean, I had Bango that was getting signed
Yeah,
to Sleeping
Bango, of
Bag
course, yeah.
Records, and I had like a bunch of beats and stuff for the album and stuff like that, but we didn't have a song.
Yeah, I forgot. Yeah,
So
Bango
that
before
song
Bango before Weekend. Sorry, yeah, carry
was
on.
before Weekend, and they said to me, they said, "Well, you got to come up with a song or whatever like that." And then some of the people in Sleeping Bag and Fresh Records said, "Oh, you should do that record over the Weekend thing." And I told him, I said, I don't have like a singer. I can't. I don't have nobody that can sing. I got to figure it out. And what they did was as well. I don't know. We could take this acapella and see if we could redo it and blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, where's the tape to it? So maybe I could remix it and make it new. And they had no tape and everything. So I had to kind of make up my own music to the acapella. It was just like crazy. I was like sitting there trying to figure out what chords worked with her voice and everything. And because I want everything to be like really on key and be plush.
No, well,
So
well,
it just took some time.
no, it was, but then that was you. I think that's you defining and developing
Mm.
your own style because those riffs.
That's what it is. I had to. I didn't have no other way to go. I had to develop something to make the record work. So yeah, I guess it turned into
But
a
yeah,
style.
I forgot
Yeah.
Bangle, but you sample from Batman, don't you? From To the Batmobile. Let's go.
Oh yeah, the beginning. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Where did
yeah.
you did I've suddenly thought, did you get that sample from that album that came out that had all the old TV themes on it?
Yeah, with all the little TV tunes
Yeah,
and
that
stuff
was
like
it. It
that.
was I
It was out
remember
on TVT. Yeah, TVT Records
that's
had
right. 'Cause I
that.
used to have a copy of that on the third turntable and spin in bits from
Yeah, yeah,
TV
yeah. I
shows.
put it together. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was crazy. Yeah,
Um, now
yeah.
the New York house sound had its own style that was different to the Chicago house sound, which in turn again was different to the Detroit house style. So if you heard a Detroit production, you'd know it was Detroit. Same with Chicago, same in New York. But what I loved about what you did, there's two examples here. You sampled a classic Detroit track from recent San Antonio, the sound, and turned it into Back to the Beat. But you also sampled a classic Chicago house record, house music anthem, and turned that
Mhm.
into Can You Party? So,
Yeah.
I mean, the three cities, very, very active in the in the 80s and early 90s with unique sounds. Why did you think, oh, I want to try and combine elements from those two cities? Was that a conscious thing?
It wasn't really nothing about that. It was like I would be in my house because at first I didn't do like house music. I did like freestyle records and I did hip hop and stuff like that. That's what I started in. And I had some freestyle records out, and a friend of mine's bring me a cassette, and he goes, "Yo, you got to make stuff like this." So
Right.
I listened to it. I said, "Well, it sounds like the same beat all the time. I guess I could figure it out." Blah blah blah. So he like left one week, came back the next week, and I did Party People. So Party People was like the first like house sample track I did. And he was like, yo, this is gonna be crazy. This is gonna be crazy. And I was like, oh, all right, I don't know, because I didn't know house music. I didn't know like that side of dance music. I knew some freestyle stuff and I knew hip hop stuff that I grew up with. So I tell people the story all the time. I was really joking around when I
Right.
made Party People. I was just like pop, 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 Party People. I'm like laughing while I'm doing it. I didn't know what I was really doing. But then it turned into something big. And I'm like, oh, okay, you guys want stuff like that. So I just kept on sampling ideas. But I didn't know who was on this cassette. I was just sampling. I didn't know
Right.
where I got it from. I wasn't, at that time I was young. I wasn't really thinking about,
So you were just
stealing somebody's song. I just thought it was like just beats on a cassette.
so
I
you were just
didn't
concentrating on your own
comprehend.
thing, unaware of what was happening elsewhere. That's
I was just trying to take pieces of it and make it different.
but obviously, fast forward into the future, you've since
Mm.
met Marshall Jefferson, you've since met Kevin Saunderson. What was that first conversation with those guys?
It
Hey,
was, it
you
was,
sampled my record, man.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm sorry, bro. I was young, was not thinking, you just didn't think about taking somebody's record. That's not was a thought in your head. I was really just taking the
Yeah,
idea.
of course.
That's why I wanted to make whatever I was sampling. I wanted to make it different. I didn't want to just take their record and just loop it. I thought that was really silly to do. But if I could just take little bits of it and make something out of it, what they did, I thought that was more creative to do.
Yeah.
But I brought this thing to the labels. In my mind, I thought the labels were going to get permissions from these people, and they never did.
But of course,
They
though,
never.
I've personally heard Marshall Jefferson playing Party People and Can You Party, and I've heard Kevin
Yeah, yeah.
Saunderson
He
play
played
Back to
all
the
my
Beat.
stuff. It was
So
like I was like,
it's all worked
it
out
all worked out. It all worked
in the
out.
end. Um,
Yeah,
now, your records blew up in the UK
yeah.
and then Europe, right? Same with
Right.
all the early house stuff from Chicago, Detroit, and New York.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It
It was a
really
movement.
took off in the UK, and so you would come over to the UK a lot. Before I ask you about those first trips to the UK, why was the US so slow in embracing its own culture?
US just was always they didn't want to give things they don't like giving things a chance. They're not first and forefront on a lot of things. They wasn't, it took hip hop to scream at them for
Yeah,
them to start playing hip hop. Had to be screamed. It was just then they started playing it.
but
Even certain rock records they just wouldn't play. Then they finally played
of
it.
course you were
It's
up
just it.
against the power of the radio stations as well, weren't you?
Yeah,
I mean,
but
you had BLS and Kiss, but apart from that, there was nowhere really, was there?
it was, yeah, just BLS and Kiss, and then later it was Z100. Everybody thought they was gonna play, house records and good records. They didn't, So it was just, New York was just a hard tackle, and then it started turning into like payola and stuff like that. That's how you get some records played with some DJs, but it just got weird. It got weird. So I looked to the European side
Yeah.
at a certain.
So
That's it. I just didn't pay New York no mind.
so then suddenly a young Todd Terry is on a plane flying to the UK. Do you remember your first UK gig?
First UK gig was the WAG.
Yes, and who were you DJing with?
That was a sleeping bag tour. So it
Yeah,
was me, Mantronics, Just Ice, Tila Rock,
yeah.
Ice and Smooth, and Steezo, and
Aren't you forgetting someone? A British DJ? A,
huh?
a British DJ, bald head,
And
the
Graeme
wag.
Park,
Yeah, because you
the
had.
WAG on the third. Was the third floor?
Well, I can't remember, but you used my records because when your manager at the time, it's like, okay, Todd's
Yeah,
ready to go on. I'm like, brilliant, can't wait. And then
yeah,
you took to the decks, and I'm on
yeah.
out the front having a drink and a dance, going, oh my God, all the records he's playing. I've got those records. I was so excited. And then about 2 hours later, right, Todd's done. Do you want to go back on? I'm like, yeah, I'll go back on. And I went back to the booth, and my records were everywhere. And you said, oh, sorry, man, my records didn't arrive from JFK. Do you remember?
Oh yeah, yes, yes, you're correct. You're correct. We had to go and get records for that night because of
That's right.
this. Uh,
And I was really annoyed because I liked to
um,
have everything in the correct sleeve, but I thought, wow, it's Todd Terry. I'll let you off. I'll let you off, and put them all back at the end of the night. But that would have been 1987
nine,
or 89,
89.
maybe.
I think it was
Certainly,
89.
yeah, 89.
88, 88, 88, 89, maybe. Yeah. Maybe. I don't think it was 87. Was it
Okay,
that?
no, you're probably right. Probably 88 or 89. Um,
88, 89.
do
Yeah, something
you? And of course, then you're in the UK. You've arrived. The kind of acid house, summer of love, rave thing starting to pick up.
like that. Yeah. Yeah, it was
DJs like
crazy.
me, Mike Pickering, John De Silva, and then in London, Terry Farley, Danny Rampling. We're
Yep,
all
yep,
playing
yep.
American house records, acid house records.
Uh,
Do you remember your first gig at the Hacienda?
oh, Graham, you're really going back,
We
man. You're
are
going back.
going back,
You're going back.
way
I
back,
can't
back into
way
time.
back in time. Um, I can't remember, Graham. Wow.
Well, you did.
You take
I
it
I
back,
remember you
man. You taking
doing.
it back.
I remember you doing some New Year's Eves because that was the one
Yeah.
time I danced on the dance floor at Hacienda, is when you were on the decks, New Year's Eve. Um, but it was exciting times. I mean, were you aware of the Hacienda and what was happening in the UK, in the New York?
No, I didn't know. When they talked Manchester, I was just like, "Where's that?" I said, "I thought it was only London." I didn't know there was like another extension to London as far as Manchester,
Yeah,
Bristol, and all that. I didn't know that. I thought that London and that was it. Do those gigs inside London and you
yeah.
go home. Then also we're driving 3 hours here and 7 hours there, and we're in Blackpool. And I'm like, "Oh wow, what is this?" So this is bigger than New York, man. This is big. And so I found out like from other people, oh, wait till you go to Hacienda and wait till this, it's just like they just talking me to death about it. And I was like, all right, let's check it out. Then finally got there. It
And of
was
course, ever
crazy.
since then,
Nice.
there's not, apart from lockdown, there's not been a year gone by that you've not DJ'd several times in the UK. What are your favourite places to play in the UK, apart from the Hacienda?
Oh, I mean, back in the days, of course, Ministry of
Yeah.
Sound was a big movement for me, and I learned a lot from that. I learned how to play for 4 and 5 hours. You got to learn how to do that, not be going crazy and stuff like that. Just play, groove all the way for 4 hours. Just groove, play exciting stuff, but have it groove to the next one, and set up and make sure that record fits with that and everything like that. So I learned that long playing thing. So that was that
Yeah.
Ministry of Sound taught me that.
What's your view on the current trend of promoters putting as many DJs as possible on a lineup and giving every DJ an hour? I get so frustrated at that.
The hour power. Yeah, I mean, I had to get used to it in the last 10 years or so. It's just the way they want to do it. But I made up routines. Like I got 10 routines
Yeah.
that gets me through the hour.
Is that
That's how I look at it.
is that a UK thing, or you can see it happening elsewhere in the world?
Um, no, it happens everywhere.
Oh, really?
The
Yeah.
hour thing lately, yeah, I could see, California,
Yeah.
Miami, everybody, comes up and plays an hour, next guy, next guy, next guy. And I think, believe it or not, people love it. They want to get as much as they can get for their money. They can
Yeah,
see
I
10
know.
DJs out each, they're good with it,
Yeah.
so it has its thing, but back in the days, we used to play, I've played 3 hours and the other guy played three
No,
hours and that's
exactly.
it. That was the night,
Exactly.
and, but
Or longer if you were lucky. Um,
yeah.
what changes have you seen in like the industry, dance music, club culture in the past, 30 odd years?
I've seen it turn horrible. That's what I've seen. It's
Is it
just
more
gotten
money orientated now?
that's just money and just it's just fake. It's just like, now this person, because they're social networking
Yeah.
numbers, they're getting these gigs and then they don't really, they play a couple of drum rolls here and there, but they don't have it's no real craft. It's just a quick setup that they follow through. It's no, you know, adventure and
Yeah,
the excitement level is just
you're
weird. It's
right.
just a weird thing.
Nobody kind of builds a career organically anymore and learns the craft before suddenly, by accident, finding themselves in front of a big crowd. It's a
Well,
lot more.
they didn't start from vinyl like I'm carrying 3 crates of vinyl. They
Oh,
didn't learn from that era. So it's just like, you just press everybody's a DJ. So, you press a button here, press this
yeah.
thing, you can lock this here, lock that there, and look at the screen. This is this, this is that. It's different. It's a non-talent now. It used to be
Okay,
talent,
you
but now
heard it
it's a
here first.
non-talent.
Do you miss
Yeah.
vinyl or not? Do you ever still use vinyl?
I can't carry my back.
No, it's not. Well, I've got two metal knees from carrying vinyl for all these years. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
but
I couldn't do it now. No,
no,
I'm used to the
yeah,
CDJs, stuff like that. I like the action of that. It's still you
yeah,
can still do
exactly.
a lot of action, a lot of interesting things.
Yeah,
But vinyl, I like,
yeah.
if
I
I have
like.
vinyl here right now, I just play vinyl and I love it, but
Yeah.
it's not a carrying
No, it's
thing.
not. I sometimes, if I've got a long set and we can work it out with the promoter, I sometimes use the Serato with vinyl, so you don't have to
Yeah,
carry
so
everything,
probably yeah.
but you got that lovely feel. But I get lots of
Yeah.
people coming up to me going, "Oh, Parky, why don't you play vinyl anymore?" I'm like, "Why should I?" Anyway, but digitally, the sound systems are set up for digital files now, and they sound amazing. If you put an
Yeah,
old
yeah,
record
yeah,
on,
yeah.
it's not going to sound as good, is it? Um, so
That's
let's go back to the hacienda, right? In recent years, you've played for big hacienda events, and I'm thinking specifically of the Warehouse Project. Now,
banged out.
the
Yeah.
last few Warehouse Project events, I'm in the DJ
Mm.
booth. Sometimes I'm on my own. Sometimes I'm with Mike Pickering, and we look out to the thousands of people in front of us, and most of them, I mean, 80% of them, weren't even born when the hacienda closed. Why do you think they're there?
I think the kids are interested in the culture of house. Like they're trying to find out where it's all coming from. They're also, all of a sudden it's like these we play these 15, 16 songs that they never heard before, and they're just great. And I'm sure they go online, they're looking for these, they hear records that are just horrible. So
No.
they're feeding into the culture, which I think is great. I didn't expect the kids to do that. I expected the kids to
Well,
just go
exactly.
off into the sunset, but they're interested.
Well, no,
They're
exactly. Because
interested.
when I was like in my late teens, I was looking back to soul, funk, early disco,
Exactly.
and like you said, the music you were listening to that influenced what you were making. So everything's kind of
Exactly.
cyclical. But do you not find this? Someone who's we've been doing this as long as each other. It's quite refreshing to get a new crowd to come along,
Now
and
I feel great now. It came back to house. I think the EDM thing messed us up. I'm just gonna be
yes,
honest. It's just like it messed up our music. It ruined our music. So now we bring it back, and I think it's comfortable. I do think we need some more new songs on the radio and stuff like that, but radio just doesn't. It's still not playing good music yet. So
radio's
that's a
rubbish.
tough tackle. It's like they
Yeah.
just I don't know you call up the PDs, you try to get them to play some new things and stuff like that.
I know
They won't do
it's
it. No, they
commercial
won't do
radio.
it.
It's all about making money and selling airtime, really.
But they don't realize they're ruining their money at
Well,
the end of the day.
exactly. They just want
They're
to
gonna ruin
coin
it.
it with
They're
the
gonna ruin
advert.
their own money. Their own
Exactly.
money's gonna,
Exactly.
you know,
But there
you know.
are great community stations and internet stations, and of course
Yeah,
you've got people
yeah,
putting stuff on Mixcloud and stuff. So you've got to look.
yeah.
On the subject of looking, I don't know about you, but I've got an email address that's just for music promo, and it's
Hmm,
overwhelming. I look at it every morning, and there's like overnight 150 emails. You must be the same.
really.
How do you find new music?
I go on Infolight.
Inflight's
Um,
great, yeah.
Yeah, Inflate and SoundCloud. Sometimes I just go in there check on things, but Inflate, I like the other day. Inflate, I went through. I really maxed out. I went to like 320
I
records,
do that sometimes. You've got to catch up, haven't you?
and I kept on going, listening. Out of 320, and I wrote it down actually. I picked seven,
Yeah, I know.
so
I know.
that's a bad margin.
But the thing is, I think technology has democratized the music making process and even DJing, and I think that's a good thing. But I think that because anyone with half a brain can make music, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be good. Because now that everyone self publishes and self releases, and there are less big labels, I think the great thing about record label was you had an A&R person, and that A&R person would guide you and actually say to you, "We're not putting that out. It's shit. You need to work on it."
Yeah, but
That process.
here's yeah, but some of the A&R people are picking bad music.
Well, okay, fair enough. Right. Right. Let's
They're
not
doing the wrong
let's
thing.
let's not get boiled down
I'm
in
not gonna
that.
name names.
No, not here. When we go off air, you can tell me, and I'll probably agree with you.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
I forgot to mention going back to your production work. Um, one of your early tracks was called All Right," and what's the story behind that? Because you gave the name of that act to a very famous act. I mean, I know the story, but tell the boys and girls at home about that.
Yeah, man, I put that out as Masters at Work. That was the first Masters at Work was me, Mike Delgado, and Franklin Martinez. And Kenny used to hang out with us like when we was doing like tracks and edits and stuff like that. We was like a crew. And then I did Dum Dum Cry
Yes.
after that. And then then I didn't put out no more Masters at Work records because I was just like doing all these kind of housey things and everything like that, and Black Ride and stuff like that. And then we was hanging out and we went to go meet Louis at Heartthrob, was used to be Funhouse, and we started, all of us just started hanging out and bugging out. So Kenny and Louis started working on some stuff and everything like that, and they needed a name, and Kenny and Louis suggested, yo, can we use Masters at Work? So that's how they got Masters at Work.
That's a great story. Not everyone knows that, and that'd be a
Yeah,
great
yeah.
quiz
But
question.
Kenny was involved from the very beginning, though,
Yeah,
of Masters at Work.
yeah.
He was down with me from the very
You,
beginning.
you say
So yeah,
you say this.
it made sense.
Yeah, it
It made
did,
sense.
and
Yeah,
and it's a very appropriate name for them as well. But you say you were hanging
yeah.
out with like Louis and Kenny. What was it like in the '90s in New York City?
We used to hang out in Bay Ridge.
All right.
Me and a lot of friends of mine. I had tons of like friends from Bay Ridge, White Boy Rob, Saw, Rack, Kenny. It was like we was just like a crew. We used to hang out at the pizzeria. We was like, thugged out Italians, like in a weird way. It's like everybody used to come to the block, get out the block playing music, hanging out, and everything. It was just a good vibe. We just had a lot of fun, goofing on each other. We had a great time in life.
Yeah, just
We
feeding
were
off each other and kind of
kings of the world.
inspiring
Yeah,
each other. Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now, you're equally known as a DJ and a producer, and I think not everyone can get away with doing both equally well. But I think you are a rare example of someone who can produce brilliantly and DJ brilliantly. That led to you obviously touring Europe a lot and touring the world, but it led to you in the '90s doing a load of remixes. Like every
Mm.
week there was a Todd Terry remix. Probably one of your most famous ones is Everything But the Girl Missing You, Missing. How did you approach remixes? Did record companies say, we want it to sound like Todd Terry, or did you just say, no, let me do my thing? How did you approach it?
I mean, remixing is a tough world because they sometimes they hire you. They want their record to sound like Bango,
Yeah.
or they want their record to sound like Samba. And I'm like, this record's not this type of thing. It's more like this type of thing. And I would hand in a lot of records, and they wouldn't, they just wouldn't like the remixes. So it's just funny, like Everything But the Girl, they didn't like that
They
remix.
didn't like it. I bet they love it now. I, I still play it.
But
I still play that a lot,
yeah, I have to play
You
it
do
because
have to
people
play
get
it.
mad at me. You didn't play Missing, and I'm like, I ran out of time, like
Yeah, no,
something like
it's. I
that.
get asked for it loads. It's a classic. Um, but you ended up in the '90s making music with two legendary vocalists, Martha Wash and Jocelyn Brown. Made a couple of records with them, and of course that meant you ended up on Top of the Pops. What was that like?
It was a goof, man.
You're
It's like
laughing.
whenever it seems like it's the biggest thing ever, it's like I'm making fun of it more than enjoying it. Like it's just like it
But
just turned into a big joke, and it's just like funny stuff going on that day.
what was it like working with Jocelyn Brown? Because before you worked with her, you did a record called "I'll Do Anything," which samples "I'll Be Right Here."
Yeah,
So what was it
yeah,
like
yeah.
working with Jocelyn and Martha?
I'm sure Jocelyn was mad as hell at me just sampling her so much. It's like,
Yeah.
no, but me and Jocelyn's cool. Me and Martha's cool. It's like trying to get another record with them, but it's a tough,
Yeah,
it's
but you see,
technical.
up until those
Technical.
records, you as we
Yeah.
spoke earlier, as we discussed earlier, you was using acapellas and samples. What was it like to
Yeah.
actually work with real, and not just real singers, but amazing
It's
singers?
it's the way to go. It's the way to go. When you got real singers, it's the way to go. And it's funny hearing me. If you heard me singing something going on, it's really funny. But I had to sing it for them so they can get the idea. And they're
But
just looking at me like
but
he's crazy.
what's it like? You're in the studio and you're having to tell them what you want, but they are
The
renowned.
nerve of me telling those women what to do. It's mad funny.
Well, they all
I
work.
say, no, like this. And then
It
they just
all
look at me like,
it all works
he's
out.
crazy.
Any
Yeah,
other
yeah.
collaborations that I mean, you've done a lot of collaborations, but any other collaborations that you've done over the years that stand out?
Tanya Wynn, just make that move. That's a good project. Kathy Dennis, the Y Remix. There's a lot of artists that I just had fun talking to them
Yeah.
and hearing their experiences through the record business and what they go through as singers. It's like a whole nother side to it. We got to realize we can DJ, we can produce our records. We're all over the place. The singers have to be kept in a certain box of where they got to be and how they got to do it and what they got to wear and stuff like that. We wear black to a gig. We just got it
I know.
easy. We're having a good time.
I had,
So it's a different way of thinking on how they got to be so presentable all the time.
no,
No matter.
I had this discussion with Paul. I was talking to DJ Paulette about this and how I can just, if I'm late for a gig, I could just change my t-shirt in the bathroom or even backstage. But as a woman, she has to find somewhere to get fully changed. There are more women DJs now. Why do you think that they've had to struggle to kind of become as prolific as the men? Because the women have always been there. They've always been half of the audience.
I don't want to look at it as, I had a conversation with a couple of friends about so many women just out there and, we was calling it titty techno and stuff like that. And it's like, hey, look, I want to look at it like this. You're a DJ. I don't care if you're a man or woman. I just you can DJ, you can DJ. And, it's a lot of women and it's just, this whole woman taking over the thing like that. But I'd rather it just be that you're a good DJ.
Yeah.
And just look like that, not like that you're a woman. Just like, what you're doing, you bang out. That's it. That's it.
Going back to your output, tell us about Freeze Records, because that Freeze Records has been going for many, many years now. And talking of in flight, pretty much every other week there's like a new Freeze release.
We tried, man. It was because it's the magnitude of trying to keep up with these 10,000 records that come out a month. It's more than that. It's like 100,000 records.
It's ridiculous.
Isn't that? It's wrong. Somewhere along the line, now it's wrong. I understand the freedom of music and making music like that, but you kind of we're messing up somewhere in there. I don't know exactly how to fix it or whatever like that, but we can't have 100,000 dance tracks coming out a month. That's wrong. I blame Beatport, Track Source, Spotify, like somewhere along, I gotta blame them. They helped me, but somewhere along the line, I gotta blame them for this mess. Yeah. It's a mess. It's ridiculous. It's like, so now anything with quality can't get through. It just can't get through. It's forgotten. It's like, the reason why we put out as many records as we are, I gotta keep on putting them back out because they just forgotten. They don't get notice and they only let you get one record to submit, and it's just like it's too pigeonholed.
Yeah,
I
must admit, when I'm pushed for time and I want to find some new stuff, I find myself going to the names and the labels and the promo companies that I recognize, and I feel bad about doing that because you think I might be missing something exciting. But like you say, if you've got 300 promos to go through in 1 hour, what are you going to do?
It's not good. It's bad freedom.
Bad freedom. There you go.
It's bad freedom. Bad freedom.
Going back to vocalists, I was listening to just going through my iTunes trying to clear it up for my record box, and I'd forgotten this record you put out about maybe 18 months, 2 years ago. Again with a great vocalist called Jesus Loves You. You know that one? Oh, Todd, I love it when you do stuff like that. Why don't you do more?
I tried. I want to do stuff like that, but it's just like, it's.
I suppose it's finding the time to get in the studio when you're on the road.
I just feel as though it's not. I just feel as though I'm not. It doesn't get appreciated.
And, I appreciate it. Jesus loves you.
And it's like,
it's amazing.
Look, every now and then I come up with a banger like that because I get the time to really think about it and do it. But
remind me of the singer on that one.
Shirley Caesar.
That's it, Shirley Caesar. And your latest release, sorry, I completely forgot the name of it. It might be on my phone, but it's kind of mid-tempo and it's got a rap or kind of rap on it and then a kind of like gospel chorus. What's that? It's absolutely superb. What is it?
I don't know if you talk about Can't Control, Don't You Feel Me? I don't know. That's my rap career. That's my rap career.
Yeah, no, hang on. I'll tell you what it is. If I just go to my latest playlist of new tunes, and it's in here. Oh my God! See, this is what we're talking about. This month, I've got 86 new tracks on my playlist to get to know.
I
So
know the feeling.
it's on there somewhere. Well, anyway, I'll tell everyone about it later. Um, so, um, what do you think of the current? We talked about the massive amount of music. What about the current crop of young, up and coming DJs? Is any what do you think of those? And are there any names that you like?
I think it's great if they put the music to, what they play, and they stay at a certain standard. It's tough. I think it's tough for a new DJ and a new artist. It's very tough now.
It is
Because
tough.
you're going up against me and
Yeah.
everybody. Like it's like it's a tough tackle. I wouldn't want to start from scratch.
No,
You
no.
know, actually, I started some aliases from scratch, and that just to see how hard it is, very hard to 20 copies. So
Yeah.
no matter what,
Well, it's
it's
interesting. You met my son.
crazy.
You met my son Ben, who's making
Yes.
music and does a bit of DJing. But bizarrely, he's not in a hurry. He's not trying to quickly. He says, "Oh, Dad,
Okay.
I look at your career, and I've met people like you and other DJs." And I don't know if it's naive, but he says, "I want to learn my craft and bide my time." But I'm worried that he might always do that and not break out. I don't know. I mean, I'm there to help him. Um,
Everybody's different. Everybody has a
Everybody's
different
different,
drive.
yeah. But he
Everybody's different.
uses Ableton Live, and some of the
Yeah,
stuff
he's telling
he
me.
does on that, I'm
Yeah.
like, whoa, how did you learn that? He goes, I just worked it out, which
These
is what
kids are
you.
geniuses and they don't know it.
No,
That's what's
exactly,
really funny.
exactly.
They're geniuses, but they don't know it.
Now, so the past 30 odd years have been amazing, but let's quickly talk about 2020 to the end of 2021, the global pandemic lockdown. How was that for you?
Suffered.
Yeah, everyone
Suffered.
suffered, but I mean, like, was it like, apart from making music, what else did you do?
Well, what happened was, I remember it was that January going into February when it all started. February. So I played Clockwork Orange with Danny, and I came home and I was a little sick.
Yeah.
I was just spitting up, blah blah blah. 3 days, it was over. Back to natural, chilling. And I was working on this project in Atlanta, Georgia. I was buying a cafe.
Oh, really?
So I went and I did the whole deal and bought this cafe and put money into it and the whole thing like that, thinking that in the summer I'll make 100 grand or 200 grand or 300 grand or whatever and fix all the stuff like that. So I spent most of my money in this project that I was
Oh
doing.
man.
And then me and Tony Touch was talking on the phone. We were supposed to go to Italy, I think like the end of February to play this gig, and everybody's all of a sudden looking on the TV, everybody's sick. And Tony's like, "Yo, I need the money." I was like, "Yo, I need the money too." Like I'm ready to get on this plane and just put a towel over my head or something. But at the end of the day, we just, nah, man, people are like dying.
Yeah.
We was like, this is something's really weird. And we just started to back off. Like I didn't go nowhere. I went and brought a bunch of water and stuff like that, put it in the house, and I started secluding
Well,
myself
that
because
that
I just couldn't figure it out.
that was the right thing to
Couldn't figure
do.
it
There
out.
were some. I'm not
Yeah.
going to mention names. There were some younger DJs who were carrying on as normal, and but let's not go there. But you took part in the Hacienda live streams on GM. How was that like DJing on your own but streaming it to the world?
Horrible.
Horrible.
I
Did you do any?
was acting like I was at the club though. I
No,
was
I
like,
know,
yeah.
but the
I
thing
was like
is,
pointed. Had nobody there. I was pointing to people like,
no, you were great. But the thing is that we had the Hacienda streams on Stream GM were a massive, massive audience, massive all around the world. And people really did appreciate it because it brought, even though everyone was isolated or on their own or in their bubbles, it brought a kind of sense of
yeah,
community, even though it was all done remotely. And I think that's what our scene's all about. It's about
yeah.
inclusivity and community. And I think that
It's
kind of,
intimate. Yeah, it's like,
it helped people through.
we got a special thing going on with people. We definitely do.
Exactly.
definitely.
Um,
Yeah.
let's get some. Let's kind of. We're getting near the end of the time. Let's quickly get some quick fire questions. What are you most proud of in your career so far?
Hmm. Um, wow. What am I most proud of? I think the success of what I've done. I think I've been pretty successful, pretty straight through.
Oh, I think you
I
have
really,
absolutely. Like I said,
I don't think I had horrible, I've been rich and broke 5 times, trust me. But
we've
I
all
think
been
that,
there.
yeah, we all been there. But I think literally, I know that I can just go do tracks, or go do DJing, or go DJ. Like I just know I can just do that
What are your
really
favorite places to
mindlessly.
DJ? Favorite places?
Well, London's still number, London, it goes London, Ibiza, it's just that those two, I can just go back and forth to those two places and I'm good. It's like when people would, want me to go to Australia and stuff like that, I start crying. Because I
Yeah,
want
but
to sit on a plane for like 20 hours and craziness. And I'm
yeah,
like,
but Todd, the
oh,
older you get, the harder it gets. That's
yeah, it's
why.
just my back. And
Yeah.
I'm complaining now. Like I complain about every damn thing. I'm like, oh,
Where
look at
where
that.
are you?
Oh,
Where would you rather be, in the studio or behind the decks?
um, I mean, I like studio life. I like to really make the
If you had to do
record.
one or the
And
other for the rest of your life, would it be make music or play music?
I would make music.
Okay. How do you
I make
relax?
music.
If you get the time to relax, how does Todd Terry relax?
Um, I mean, music is relaxing to me. If I can sit here, start making a thing, or work on a project and stuff like that, that's part of my relaxation. But hanging out with friends. I think that's relaxing. Going out, have a couple friends, have dinner, joke around, stuff like that. Get back home, watch a movie. That's a relaxing day for me. Just like friends and just chilling, and just
What
like, you know,
um I get asked this all the time. Uh what's on your hospitality rider?
hospitality.
Yeah.
As far as what?
What?
What do you mean?
No, your drinks rider.
Oh,
Your
okay.
hospitality rider.
I thought I was like I had to go take somebody and show them to their room or something.
No,
No,
no, no.
no, I vodka, cranberry, Red Bull. That's I have a two of those and DJ and have a good time. And if there's some fruit there, stuff like that, that's cool.
Everything in
Uh,
moderation though, yeah?
yeah. No, just the two drinks is
Yeah.
my limit
I'm the
now.
same.
Last night I was out. I did two big glasses
Yeah,
of
that
that, and that's a.
I think it's
It's
an
like I
age
don't even
thing.
drink the whole thing.
Throughout the 80s and
Yeah,
90s,
I don't need that.
I
I
went
don't need that.
wild then, and then I calmed it all down and stopped, and now it's literally two drinks, and that's all you need,
That's
isn't
it.
it? All you need.
You
Take the
don't need
edge off.
more.
What
Just don't
advice
need.
would you give to anyone who wants to be like you, to make music and DJ, to someone young? What advice would you give to the next generation or the current generation?
I don't know. I don't know because from the generation that I'm in now, I don't know what to tell kids now. I don't know. I want to give some inspiration. I say to everybody, just keep going, no matter what. No matter what, just keep going, keep going. Don't get discouraged. But it's discouraging avenues out there. So it's like I don't know where to push people to start. And the main thing I tell people, I say, do your music, put out your music, and just keep it moving. That's the best thing I could tell you. Don't don't try to be like this person.
Yes,
Don't try to be
exactly.
like that
Develop your
person.
own
Because if
style.
that guy's got a drum roll, doesn't mean you have to have a drum roll.
Exactly.
If he wants to sing high pitch, doesn't mean you have to sing high
No,
pitch. I just think everybody's just following
exactly.
trends because they see this guy got 300,000 views, so I gotta dress like him with an orange jumpsuit. You don't.
I
It's
totally
too many followers out there. We got to get rid of the
100% agree.
following thing.
Any
Yeah.
regrets?
Oh, yeah, regrets.
Your face.
I gotta get my other computer. I have them all written
Oh,
down. Like,
really?
what's I got regrets? I've messed up a lot. I said things maybe I shouldn't have said.
But you learn from them,
Smacked
right?
ass that I shouldn't have smacked. Whatever. I did a lot of craziness. A lot of
But
craziness.
you learn from your regrets, don't you?
No.
Um,
I'm still a fool.
Okay,
I'm still a fool.
okay, you're still a fool, but
Still.
what has life taught you? What's your career taught you? What's the one thing that you know now that you didn't know then?
Well, um, I don't know, man. I would look, if I could take this brain and go back 30 years, oh, forget about it. I would fix a lot of stuff, but
Okay, so on
I don't know.
on that topic
Yeah.
then, if you could go back, what would you say to the young Todd Terry at the block party thinking, oh yeah, this is great? What would you say to him?
Stop spending money.
That's what I'd say to me. That's exactly what I'd
Stop
say
being
to
a
me.
dumb idiot.
I'd say, you know that money
Stop
you're
showing
earning?
off.
I would say to
Stop
myself,
showing off.
yeah, I'd say, yeah, exactly. I'd say, you know that money you're earning?
Don't buy that
You're
watch.
going to earn?
Don't buy that car.
Put some to one side. That's what I say. Yeah.
Don't
Okay.
don't go out with her. That's the first thing I would have told myself.
With her.
Why? Pull your pants up and run.
So, what's coming
Yeah,
up for you
lot.
later this year? What's on the horizon? Are you obviously you're going to be doing loads of Hacienda events as always. But
Yeah.
what else is happening this year for you?
I'm trying to do more of my like Todd Terry and the Freeze Project and Todd Terry and Friends events. I'm trying to do more of my own events with Drum Shed, with this, with Hacienda. You know, I'm trying to brand. I'm going into the branding world.
Yeah, good
So,
man.
you know, I'll be mixing with you guys. It'll be Hacienda
Yeah.
and Todd Terry
And of course,
presents.
you're coming to do
Yes.
my thing in Sheffield as well later this year, which
Yes.
I'm excited about.
Yes.
Well, listen.
So that's where I got to be now.
Well, Todd, listen, you keep doing what you're doing because you do it magnificently. There's a lot of
You
love
too,
for you.
Graham.
Sorry?
You too, man.
What?
Mr. Park,
Listen,
Senor Parker.
thank you so much for joining us, and I'll see you on a dance floor soon. So, everyone, that was Mr. Todd Terry. I've been Graeme Park. Thank you for watching Hacienda in Conversation, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.